force diffusion and its connection to Prince of Persia. Force diffusion is the process of cultural exchange that occurs when a dominant culture imposes its values, beliefs, and practices on a subordinate culture. This concept can be seen in the movie Prince of Persia, which tells the story of a young prince named Dastan who must prevent a powerful dagger from falling into the wrong hands. Throughout the movie, there are several instances of force diffusion that illustrate how dominant cultures can influence and shape subordinate cultures. One example is the portrayal of the Persians as a superior culture compared to the other cultures in the region. This is evident in the way that the Persians are depicted as more advanced, powerful, and civilized than their neighbors. Another example of force diffusion in the movie is the use of language. The Persians in the movie speak with a British accent, which suggests that the British culture has influenced and imposed itself on the Persian culture. This is an example of how dominant cultures can impose their own language on subordinate cultures, which can have a significant impact on the latter's identity and sense of self. Moreover, the movie also shows how the Persians imposed their religious beliefs on the other cultures in the region. For instance, the Persians in the movie worship a single god, which they believe is the only true god. This belief is imposed on the other cultures in the region, which are shown to have their own gods and religious practices. This is an example of how dominant cultures can impose their religious beliefs on subordinate cultures, which can create conflict and tension between the two. In conclusion, force diffusion is a complex process that can have a profound impact on the cultures involved. The movie The Prince of Persia provides several examples of how dominant cultures can impose their values, beliefs, and practices on subordinate cultures. By understanding the concept of force diffusion, we can better appreciate the diversity of cultures and the importance of respecting each other's differences.
The movie Prince of Persia, The Son of Time is a thrilling adventure set in ancient Persia. However, beneath the action-packed storyline lies deeper connection to the concept of force diffusion. Force diffusion, the process by which dominant culture imposes its beliefs, practices, and values into less powerful culture, has been a prevalent issue throughout history. So this essay will explore the connection between the movie and the force diffusion. Shedding light on the application of this connection, the plot of the movie revolves around the Prince of Persia, Dastan, who is framed for his father's murder and must clear his name while protecting the powerful time-altering artifact. Throughout this journey, Dastan encounters various cultures and peoples, including the Assassin, a group of assassins hired to kill him. The Assassins are depicted as a dark and mysterious group, dressed in black and wielding deadly weapons. Their portrayal in the movie aligned the stereotypical representation of Middle Eastern cultures as violent and dangerous. In contrast, the people of Alamut are portrayed as primitive and underdeveloped with resources and weapons. This portrayal reinforced the idea of force diffusion, where dominant culture imposes its belief and values into less powerful culture. The theme of force diffusion is further emphasized in the movie The depiction of the Son of Time and the time-altering artifact that Dastan must protect. The Sons of Time represented as a powerful tool that can manipulate the time and control the future. The Persians seek to control the artifact, believing that they have the right to do so because of their superiority over the other culture. This belief reinforces the idea of force diffusion, where dominant culture seeks to control, alter the beliefs and practices of a less powerful culture. In conclusion, the movie Prince of Persia, The Son of Time has deep connection to the concept of forced diffusion. The portrayal of the Persian as a dominant culture and the representation of the people of Alamut as primitive and underdeveloped reinforce the idea of forced diffusion. Furthermore, the theme of the Son of Time and the Persian belief that they have the right to control it reinforce this idea. The highlights of the importance of understanding of implication of the forced diffusion and impact it has on culture and societies. It serves as a reminder that cultural exchange should be a mutual exchange of ideas and practices rather than the imposition of one culture into another.
The movie Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time explores the concept of forced diffusion, where a dominant culture imposes its beliefs, practices, and values onto a less powerful culture. Through the portrayal of the Persians as a dominant culture and the people of Alamut as primitive, the movie reinforced the idea of forced diffusion. The theme of the sands of time as the tool for control further emphasized that connections. However, while the movie provides a glimpse into the implication of forced diffusion, it also sparks discussions and counter-arguments that challenge our understanding of cultural exchange and power dynamics. Counter-arguments and challenges. One's counter-arguments that may arise at that the movie's portrayal of the Persians and the people of Alamut is not necessarily a reflection of forced diffusion, but rather a narrative device to create conflict and tensions. Some may argue that the movie's intent was to entertain rather than delve into the complexities of cultural dynamics. Additionally, critics may argue that the movie's implied depiction of cultures is a result of the limitation of the medium, as movies often rely on stereotypes and archetypes for storytelling purposes. Another counter-argument could be that the movie actually subverts the concept of forced diffusion by showcasing the protagonist Dastan as a catalyst for cultural understanding and change. Throughout the story, Dastan learns to appreciate and respect the people and tradition of Alamut, ultimately working together with them to save Persia. This argument suggests that the movie presents a more nuanced view in cultural exchange, where forced diffusion is ultimately overcome through mutual respect and cooperation. Furthermore, some may argue that the movie's focus on forced diffusion oversimplifies the historical context of ancient Persia and the complexities of cultural interaction during that time. It is crucial to note that historical accuracy may be sacrificed for the sake of storytelling and audience engagement. Conclusion. In summary, Prince of Persia, The Son of Time indeed offers a connection to the concept of forced diffusion through its portrayal and dominant and less powerful cultures. However, it is important to consider counter-argument that challenge this connection and acknowledge the limitations of movie storytelling. While the movie provides an entry point for discussing forced diffusion, further exploration is required to fully grasp the complexities of cultural exchange and power dynamics. By critically engaging with movies like Prince of Persia, we can develop a more nuanced understanding of the impact of forced diffusion on culture and societies.
The two essays highlight the connection between the movie Prince of Persia, The Son of Time, and the concept of forced diffusion. The movie portrays the Persian as dominant culture imposing their belief and values onto the less powerful people of Alamo. This connection has significant implications for cultural exchange, power dynamics, and identity formation. The portrayal of forced diffusion is the movie reinforces the negative impact of culture, imposition, and highlights the importance of mutual exchange and respect. Forced diffusion can lead to erasure of cultural diversity and identity, perpetuating power imbalances and reinforcing dominant cultural norms. The movie serves as a reminder that cultural exchange should be a two-way street where both parties learn and grow from each other. However, the counter-argument presented in the second essay challenged our identity and our understanding of the connection between the movie and prostitution. It is essential to acknowledge that the movie portrayal of cultures may be a result of the limitation of medium and the need for narrative tension. The complexity of cultural interaction during the time may also be oversimplified to fit into the movie's storyline. In conclusion, the connection between Prince of Persia, The Son of Time, and Forced Diffusion highlights the importance of cultural exchange and challenges us to examine the implication of cultural imposition. While the movie provides an entry point for discussing forced diffusion, it is essential to consider counter-arguments and acknowledge the limitation of movie storytelling. By engaging critically with movies like Prince of Persia, we can develop a more nuanced understanding of cultural exchange, power dynamics, and identity formation.
The connection between the movie Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, where concept of forced diffusion being discussed. It is where a dominant culture imposes its beliefs and values onto a less powerful culture. The essay discusses how the movie portrays the Persians as a dominant culture and the people of Alamut as primitive, reinforcing the idea of forced diffusion. They also highlight counter-arguments that challenge this connection and acknowledge the limitations of movie storytelling. The essays emphasize the importance of understanding the impact of forced diffusion on culture and societies and the need for mutual exchange and respect. This summarizes the idea of comparing the movie and the topic discussed about forced diffusion. There are certain kind of scenes that can be seen in the movie, also in forced diffusion, and from this way we can learn something that may help us to fully understand the true meaning of forced diffusion. The movie entitled Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, and the concept of forced diffusion has its similarity since these two talks about the same topic, which is all about forced diffusion. It is a forcedly adaptation on a culture of one's country to pass it forcedly to another country. The country who's being forced to adapt are likely to be less powerful, while the opposite country or the one with authority are said to be powerful country. Also, the essays explore the connection between the movie Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, and the concept of forced diffusion. Two countries are involved where a dominant culture imposes its beliefs and values onto a less powerful culture. The movie's portrayal of the Persians as a dominant culture reinforces the negative impact of cultural imposition and highlights the importance of mutual exchange and respect. However, counter-arguments challenge the connection and acknowledgement the limitations of movie storytelling and oversimplification of historical context. Overall, the essay emphasized the importance of critically engaging with movies to develop a nuanced understanding of culture